Here we are today in Sydney, Australia, and I'm joined by Daniel Byrne, Chief Executive Officer of easyMarkets Australia.
Andrew, actually I owe you a thank you because it was 2 years ago at a FinanceFeeds event that I met my now bride-to-be. We just got engaged this month. So thank you very much.
It's a great pleasure. You never see anything, never have guessed anything like that would come out of a networking event such as that. I'm very pleased to hear that.
Thank you so much. It was a bit of a FinanceFeeds fairy tale.
Yes, really is. Great to hear. You've been here for quite some time. easyMarkets has been here for a very long time, actually.
easyMarkets is one of the original licensees here in this market since 2003. We've got a very well-established business footprint in the APAC region. I feel very fortunate to be leading such a established and successful company. Yeah. One of the things that we are really striving to do in the retail market is to be innovation leaders, to have innovation in trading technology for the retail market.
That's vital, especially now when there are so many also-ran off-the-shelf solutions which are offering very similar products to a similar customer base.
Couldn't agree more with you, Andrew. All the shops, all the competitive, not all, but many of the competitors out there pretty much offer exactly the same thing these days. We're talking about a MetaTrader platform. Yeah. We're talking about supposedly variable low spreads and fast execution. Not always the case when the market conditions change. But we're definitely wanting to differentiate ourselves in that manner.
That's important, and it certainly is. It's even, in my opinion, the manifestation of a similar value proposition by many firms to retail traders is worse than that, because it's not only the same off-the-shelf platform, but it's a completely uncustomized solution. So therefore, the same trading terms and the same environment and the same and customer experience is manifests itself across over 1,000 different platforms. Exactly. So therefore, the same customer base is being targeted by over 1,000 identical off-the-shelf solutions. And surely, technological innovation in an industry like ours is the only way to actually not only support customers that have gone round to various different firms and found the same offering and are looking for a different asset class, but also to attack new customer bases that need to get into the retail sector and have a lower price than they're paying at some of the larger high street firms, like in America you have E-Trade and Charles Schwab and things like that, which are traditional companies. There's no reason why online firms can't actually get into that market.
Absolutely right. And at easyMarkets we are very particular in making sure that we target that we're clear about our target market. And we have always been catered to the retail market in that sense. So for that journey for the retail trader, from beginner through to becoming more consistent and profitable, right up to the point where they may even be a full-time trader, we have solutions and products and innovative things that they won't find at other brokerages for them on our platform.
Well, one of those is actually, and we've spoken about this a few times, is the deal cancellation system, which in my opinion resembles the institutional world in the fact that banks use a last look procedure when they're looking at trades to see if they can reject the trade or not. This is the way of a retail trader actually being able to access a very similar process to how a bank would execute a trade.
Absolutely right, Andrew. And that was key in the reason why we built this product was to give the retail trader some of those tools that traditionally had only been available to the institutional market. Deal cancellation allows an individual to have that protection for the first hour of their trade, to know exactly what their fixed amount of risk is.
And they can completely cancel out any risk.
They can cancel out of the trade any time in that first hour and not have to absorb the losses on the account for that position. So it's a wonderful peace of mind for a trader who might be maybe a little bit hesitant taking a trade, if there's some uncertainty in the market or perhaps some event risk pending before they take that trade. So we think it's a wonderful innovation, and it's certainly been, the feedback from our clients has been very encouraging.
I think that's excellent. Actually, we have short memories a lot of the time, especially in a fast-moving OTC world of spot Forex. But it was only 3 years ago that the Swiss National Bank removed the peg on the Swiss franc versus
what a day that was.
Yes, yeah. Exactly. So that became apparent very quickly. But 1 hour would have been enough to take your trade out and not be exposed to a negative balance.
Absolutely right, and I'm really glad that you raised that type of, it was a very big event in the market. As we saw, some brokers actually were caught on the wrong side of that and didn't end well for them. And also many traders did as well. So we believe that retail traders deserve to have better conditions and safer conditions. So we actually take some of that risk off the table for the clients so they don't have to take it. How we do that? We offer things like guaranteed stop losses for every trade. So if you were in a trade in an event such as that, and you had a stop loss in place, which when you're using our platform, every trade must have a stop loss, we would guarantee the exit at that price. So that might mean us as a company taking on a bit of that event risk, but we've been doing this a very long time, so we're confident that we can remove the risk for the client and make it safer for them.
Yeah, I think that's right. And actually a lot of retail traders have been kind of got into the point where over the years, certainly ever since the launch of MetaTrader 14 years ago, that it's not possible to lose. You know, the worst you can get to is zero. And that's a sort of byproduct of the relatively new entrants into the retail space that haven't come from our industry.
Yes.
That have come from the marketing industry, they've come from affiliate marketing, things like that, lead buying. They're not from a technological or banking or financial technology background, don't really necessarily know how a matching engine works or how to integrate their system into the market. It's more about promising customers that they should trade whatever they want and they can't really lose. That's not really true, is it? Because we're going back to that SNB event, the Swiss National Bank event. Many traders were exposed to negative balances, only to find that the broker then took legal action against them to recover the monies.
Many traders don't realize it. If they're trading with a brokerage that doesn't have a negative balance protection guarantee, then they are risking their other assets.
Yes, they are.
When they take a trade. And this can be quite a confronting experience for a trader if they find themselves in that position.
Well, they could be liable. They could
Indeed.
be sued by the broker. And actually that brings me on to an interesting point that certainly with easyMarkets, there is a new system which actually not only avoids that, but moves the business on from purely spot FX with a stop loss. What you have is an options system which actually allows hedging and therefore emulates that of an institutional desk.
So further to what we discussed about deal cancellation and its likeness to the last look institutional practices, we have just launched a new product, as you mentioned, Andrew, called EasyTrade. Now, EasyTrade is based on our vanilla options product, but it's an intraday option. So how it works is you can select a 1, 3, or 6 hour contract.
And a multi-asset.
Multi-asset. We're talking FX, commodities, indices, even cryptocurrencies.
Right. And it's important to know that this is an actual traditional options product. It's not a binary product or anything like that. We have to get away from anyone realizing that, thinking it might be that.
Definitely not a binary
It's
option.
not.
This is a proper option derived from the vanilla option pricing engine that we've developed and own the technology for. Why is it useful for traders? It's useful for them because they can go into a position and know precisely what their fixed amount of risk is, and they don't even need to trade with a stop loss. So they can enter their fixed amount of risk, the time they'd like to take that trade for, and then the direction of the trade. Now, our active traders absolutely love this product because there has never been an easier way to hedge an intraday position in the spot market with this product. So again, I ask you the question, Andrew, institutional traders, do you think that they employ such things as risk management hedging practices?
Well, they absolutely do. They certainly it's part of the professional trading. Even proprietary trading shops in Chicago, they have specific risk desks that are internal to the company. So they are using that particular practice to hedge their own when they're trading their own accounts.
Absolutely. These are the practices that really separate the successful traders from, unfortunately, the traders that are not successful. Things like hedging.
Yes.
Things like having access to proper technologies for decision analysis support. Things like proper stop loss level, stop losses that are guaranteed, negative balance protection.
Yeah.
All of these things really take a retail trader's trading to a higher level.
Yeah, and actually the ability to use a platform which is designed specifically for trading options. You know, there are companies in the industry which offer FX options, but it's not the same target audience, it's not the same system. For example, if you have an FX options provider that has a prime brokerage relationship with Citibank, for example, it's a give-up business relationship. It's for corporation to corporation.
Quite right.
Therefore, margin FX can't be traded through that. So what you have here is a separate platform for options trading, which is basically a read across from all of the asset classes available on the spot market.
But the wonderful thing, Andrew, is that the platform integrates this into one user interface. So you have your spot trades there, and you can also have your options visible simultaneously. It's
a web-based trading platform.
In fact, we've also just upgraded the platform this month to include new charting from TradingView as well.
Right.
So we've listened to what our traders have asked for. And we've upgraded the platform in many ways, but it's very, very functional. It's very easy to use, and the feedback we're getting from clients is very encouraging.
I think that's really important, especially now, because I think, and I've spoken to many people, especially in areas where there is a high concentration of brokerages that rely on third-party similar systems, there's going to be an enormous amount of consolidation very soon, because of the lack of product range that exists among 1,000 different platforms in the market. And those who don't have those will not be able to support the increasing demands of ever more sophisticated client bases, especially here in the Asia Pacific region, where diversification and trading platform versatility is very, very, very important.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. I think that innovators and those companies that can come out with new tools, new services, new products will have a competitive edge.
Yes, they will.
Versus the other providers who are using the same technology, relatively the same pricing and execution engines, and pretty much all saying the same thing.
That's right.
In their messaging.
Yeah, and I think in the Asia Pacific region, we're going to see a lot of astute traders who won't ever talk about these things because they're busy working and trading, looking and analysing what is available for new asset classes and new execution techniques. They won't go to brokers. It's not like in Western markets where your customers will take their time to call and complain to brokerages that this didn't work because of this reason, or I can't trade this on here. I've been to another broker, it's all the same. In this region, they won't do that because they're analytical people who spend a lot of it. Often, one trader might work in an office with 5 or 6 other traders and be trading their own accounts. And it will look a bit like a proprietary trading shop, but actually it's a retail account that's being used. So I think in China, in Malaysia, in Thailand, in Singapore particularly, Hong Kong, places like that, there will be more demand for diversified products, but they won't come to brokers and ask for it.
No, they won't. They'll do their analysis, like you quite rightly pointed out, in their own time, and form their own view based on that. So those who don't get the clients won't know why they didn't get them.
That's exactly right, and that's why the brokerages have to be the proactive ones in developing the technology. So we are a technology business after all.
Oh, indeed we are, and having those competitive edges by way of other innovations and products is going to be key for those providers that really can flourish in the years ahead.
And as it stands at the moment, really, regionally speaking, you have London with the big publicly listed retail firms that have their own platforms serving that market, and usually a domestic British audience, companies like IG Group and so forth, Hargreaves Lansdown. But then you have other parts of Europe where there's now regulatory issues with lots of restrictions, and then you have Cyprus where there's a lot of retail brokers using MetaTrader 4. Then you have Australia, which is in the right place to be innovative in these particular retail platforms, because unlike London, which has 2 or 3 very large public retail firms and the rest are institutional providers and prime brokerages and banks, Australia has a very large, highly organised retail forex sector, and it's also a participant in the Asia Pacific region, which is vital to this industry's success.
I absolutely agree with you, Andrew. The proximity of Australia to those fast-growing Asian markets is a key component of why this region is so attractive for brokerages here.
That's for sure.
And like what you mentioned before, there's a lot of traders here that are very astute and that are very educated. The market here is quite mature.
It is mature,
and
yes.
In those mature markets, providers are really there's a necessity to innovate, and there's a necessity to evolve, to bring some new things to the table. So we believe that we're doing that through things like the deal cancellation, like the easy trade, like the trading conditions that are extremely supportive to manage the risks of trading for retail traders. And the whole idea of our business model is to support and educate the market so that our clients can trade better, they can trade more sustainably, and execute more positions for longer, which is how we grow our business.
I think that's also an important way of attracting a new client type in this region, and it's also a way of getting away from those standardized automated ways of trading. For example, MetaTrader 4, why is it so popular in this region? It's because of the robot compatibility, because a lot of introducing brokers are using self-programmed robots to trade multi-accounts on MT4. Now that's been going on for 14 years.
Indeed.
And also a lot of traders are subservient to the introducing broker world. By having a self-directed platform that puts a trader in not only a proprietary system, which has been developed by the broker that operates it, in this case, but also one that removes the reliance on an introducing broker and keeps the cost down because they take success fees and very high commissions. It's a bit of a conflict of interest in some respects. It gives companies like easyMarkets the ability to attract direct retail customers of a high caliber who will do options trading and hedging and so forth, rather like they would if they had a small hedge fund, and develop a self-directed client base. And if you look at the successful retail brokers outside this region, they've done it like that. IG Group, Hargreaves Lansdown, they don't have IBs, and they don't have any very much business outside their own domestic market. So it's sustainable. It's loyal customers using their proprietary platforms. If you do that in this region with the hedging tools and the ability to give Asia Pacific client base with a very analytical way of trading, a way of being self-directed, the reliance on IBs might go away.
Indeed it does, and that's what we're seeing. Our model is very much to go direct to the clients themselves and not to work with IBs unless we're quite selective in who we do work with in that regard. But what we find is by speaking to the customers or by listening to the customers, we know what they want, and we know how we can integrate those features and functions into the platform and into the offering. And it's very heartening or very pleasing to see just the level of satisfaction of our client base. In fact, we have a higher Trustpilot rating than any other of the retail brokers, including some of those very well-established firms you mentioned previously.
Right.
Now, we're very proud of that because it shows us that a happy client who's prepared to give you a genuine testimonial as to their experience being positive is certainly a very welcome thing. And a bit of recognition for what we feel is a lot of hard work that's been done at the back end. That's
right, and I think Trustpilot is a good yardstick because that is not a easily influenced, that's a genuine multi-industry tool for checking companies, so therefore it's a much more reliable than some of the more industry-specific ones.
Indeed it is, and all of the pilot testimonials are individually vetted as proper clients. Right. They have to be. So
yes, they do.
Yeah.
That's actually a very good point. And I think more traders should be using things like Trustpilot rather than things like Forex Peace Army to check these things, because that's a non-specific to this industry, therefore it's vetted and it's completely impartial.
Indeed, indeed.
So very interesting, Daniel. I really think that this is the way the industry should be going, and certainly wish easyMarkets well with it. And great to be here in Sydney, and hope to see you soon.
Thank you so much, Andrew.
It's a great pleasure.
To be with
nice
you
to
today.
see you. All the best.
To see you.